the first globals, 56% of you first globals have passports and have traveled abroad. Staggering. When I was a kid, going to a small town in Pennsylvania to visit my family was a big deal. When I went to the dry cleaner in early July, right before July 4th, the young woman behind the counter was 19. And she said, "Oh, I can't wait till this place shuts down for a week." Now, she's not getting paid, works at minimum wage. But I said, "Oh, well, you going to do something?" "Yeah, I'm going to Trinidad," she said. So for a $199 round-trip ticket, a backpack strapped on her back, sleeping on a friend's floor for a week, she's a global citizen now, because she's going to come back a whole lot different than she left. She's seen the world, part of it. 18 to 29-year-olds are as likely to say, "I'm a citizen of the planet Earth," as they are to say, "I'm a citizen of the United States." 1 in 4 18 to 29-year-olds say, "I expect," not "I hope" or "I wish," "I expect to live and work in a foreign exotic capital at some point in my life." This group is the least likely to say that American culture is superior to the cultures of the rest of the world. This group is the most supportive of multilateralism in foreign policy. This group is the most racially diverse, culturally diverse, simply diverse generation we've ever had. To them, when we poll, Barack Obama is not the African-American candidate for president. He's the cool candidate for president. They know that 15 to 20 years from now, when we ask the question, what will America look like? They say Barack Obama. Because we will be a majority-minority nation, and a lot of the rest of us will be beige. It is. So I'm high on this generation because there are fewer barriers. They did not grow up with the bigotry that we did. They didn't grow up with the institutional bigotry that we did. Their lives are kind of tabula rasa as far as that prejudice is concerned. Empty slate. I didn't have to do that. I know that. Unless you think that this group is just a liberal group, because I know I'm in North Florida here. But lest you think this is a liberal group, it's an exciting and sophisticated group. My generation botched the whole issue of abortion. You ask 18 to 29-year-olds, where do you stand on it? You know what they say? Give me the situation. And then I'm going to tell you if it's justified or not justified. And I just think that's refreshingly different than pigeonholing people. So there's a lot in the book. I talk about the new institutions that we are creating. The newspaper will never be the same again. Why? Because more and more Americans are getting their news from each other and from blogs. And the good news is it's a shakedown period. The newspaper will get better, and hopefully the blogs will get better. But they will interact with each other. And the newspaper will become more vibrant, more people-oriented. America likes reading professional journalism, but it also likes reading about each other. from each other. You know, traditionally, even in the traditional newspaper, the best read section of the paper after the headlines on the front page are the letters to the editor. Higher learning. With all respect to a great institution of higher learning, you are changing and running and running and running to keep up with the changes. So now, for those Americans who are working 55 and 58 hours a week, who want to improve themselves with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a certificate program, they don't have to run 15 miles to the nearest university and take a class in a brick and mortar building. They can do it online. And the brick and mortar universities understand they can do it online. And that's not news. You know that. But what is news is that employers increasingly are buying into it. And academics are increasingly buying into it. And when we poll academics, they're now saying, you know, I teach in this small college in Pennsylvania, but there's this woman in Idaho taking my class. She's so brilliant. And I would have never had a chance to interact with this woman in Idaho, and she would have never had a chance to interact with me and my interests. So it's all changing, but you know what? It's changing because the people get it. Sociologists will talk about the phenomenon known as cultural lag. That is when there are these huge macro tectonic changes that are taking place, like the change of an economic base, like the technological changes that we get every 3 months and 6 months. And they say the public takes years, decades to catch up with the changes. And my polls are suggesting the opposite, that out of necessity, the public is doing just fine. It's the institutions and many of the leaders of the institutions that are having a hell of a time catching up. There's a disconnect.